Hey everyone, I just hopping on for a little quick check-in. I don't know about you all, but I am having the last few weeks like the energy moving. Um, and I say it all the time, but we're we're in this evolution, and I think a lot of us were getting, in one way or another, in touch with that future version of ourselves. So whether it was like having certain desires come through really strongly, seeing visions of that future self or that future self's life, um, taking major risks, like major leaps of faith, in that direction. This has been going on, since around what's the date? Since around the first of the month, so a few weeks now, let's say the last couple weeks. Um, and when we have that heart desire, we have that vision, we connect to it, especially if we take action, any kind of action, like devoted, committed action towards it. We become magnetic. This is what we were talking about last time. Like we become really magnetic to actually that future version of us. So there is the version of you that is now, there's another version of you that is already embodying all of those things. You can call it whatever you want, but I call it future version potential. You could think of it as, a version of you that's existing in another timeline, in another dimension, that is embodying those things, living those things. And that version, having that experience, has um, a frequency to match that embodied experience. So in these times when we're really being called, it's not like normal change right now. We're not talking about normal transformation. We're talking about big leaps, big transformation. And I feel like we're at this sort of decision point. Maybe some of us are a little past it. um, but we're at this decision point where, we could take the trajectory going kind of the same pace that the rest of our lives have been in. And, we'll end up as far down that path as we end up, or we can say yes to this massive leap, this massive evolution. And if you've said yes to that in the last few weeks, especially if you've taken any action to back that up, that version of you, that future version of you, has been magnetized to you. So now that future version of you is in your field. It's holding a frequency that you're not currently holding. So when we have these two frequencies, like your frequency is going to start to shift to match this future version of you. And that's reality creation, reality crafting. But in the presence of this frequency, which is likely very different because these are big leaps, very different than what you're currently holding, it activates everything that is not a match for that. So all of the density, all of the distortions, all of the, residual trauma patterns, all of this stuff is getting really activated so that it can wash out of the system. I took some big scary leaps last week. I'm having major contraction, like, majorly just want to hide. For me, that contraction is wanting to hide. It's a feeling of like, oh my God, everything's wrong, right? This is what my head is saying. Like, everything is wrong. I've done everything wrong. I'm doomed. I go into major self-doubt. Physically, for me, it can be a desire to like eject from my body, to dissociate. My head gets confused, or I have racing thoughts. And this is not atypical. A lot of us have, all of this to some degree. It's the patterns that we sort of pick up to cope, as in other periods of our life. So I still have all this residual stuff. It's coming on real strong right now because the last couple of weeks have been so expansive. So I think just knowing that's what it is, right? You expanded really big. You called to you the version of you that is holding that expansion. And here it is in your field now, shining a light on everything that is not that. So I was just hopping on here to say, like, I'm in this process. I'm guessing some of you are. And what really helps me is just to be aware of it. Like, if I know this is my contraction pattern, I don't have to get so freaked out by it. I don't have to believe the things in my head. I can be super gentle and super loving with myself. Like, what do I need to do to stay in my body? Movement, because I know my pattern is like to go into a freeze. So, lovingly committing myself to moving throughout the day with presence, um, noticing like what it feels like to be in my body just in little ways, going slowly, letting the physical stuff kind of purge out. I'm definitely having physical detox. Right now with my Healy team, we're doing a really deep physical detox. So that's kind of perfect timing. It's helping, to clear this stuff, and it's also really supported. Yeah, just take care of yourself. And I just want to say, if you're having some of this like rubber band effect, you are not alone. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It's totally normal. But like, use this as an opportunity to set up a good way of treating yourself and taking care of yourself during these times, because I think there'll be more of it when things start to move in the spring. Um, so now is a really good practice session of like, how do you lovingly take care of yourself when you maybe have that contraction after, and letting all this stuff, that's getting lit up right now, just letting it wash out. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I find really helpful. I mean, just slow and presence and love and gentleness. Um, and not spinning out on like the head stories. Whatever the story the head is creating now, that is likely just old patterning running. So just ignore it. You come back, assess things in a few days or in a week. So I hope you're doing well, and we definitely are in wild times. And let me know if you're going through some of this too, and if there's anything that supports you, leave them in a comment below, because I know other people would really appreciate that. And we'll see you soon.